I'm Nate Gilmore, host of the Holiness Today podcast.
Yeah, I'm Bailey Friberg, and I'm Communications and Partner Coordinator for the USA-Canada region.
And we're having a conversation with
Jennifer McCraw, Marketing and Partnerships Manager, Upward Sports.
Welcome to the Holiness Today podcast, Jennifer, Bailey. Welcome back.
Hey.
Good to have you both here.
Yeah.
We are working on UCRO partnerships. So Bailey introduced me to Jennifer, and so Bailey, I need to tease UCRO out of my name. I said that to my brother the other day, my own brother, and he says, "What's UCRO?" So USA Canada Regional Office, but USA Canada Church of the Nazarene, the region of USA Canada, is working on partnerships.
If us Nazarenes are good at is our acronyms. So
we know way too many acronyms, Jennifer. I don't even know them all, but I just say them.
We have you beat. For sure. Internally here at Upward, we have you beat, for sure.
But Bailey, if you could just kind of connect us, well, you grew up playing Upward Sports, so I'm gonna hand it over to you. But tell us how you got connected with Jennifer, and I'll let you start us out.
Yeah, well, if you guys haven't met me before, my name's Bailey. I'm the USA Canada Regional Office Communication Partner Coordinator, which means I get to work with our three main partnerships for the USA Canada region. And one of those is Upward Sports. We also have Ministry Designs and Alpha, but I think Upward Sports might be our longest partnership with you guys. And it's something I grew up doing. It's something my siblings grew up doing. My husband from a different state grew up doing it. It's core memories of our childhood. So I absolutely love that I get to work with Jennifer and the Upward Sports teams, just because the impact it's had on my life as an athlete, to also watching all of our churches continue doing this and continue starting it up. It's super exciting. So we have a really unique and awesome partnership with Upward Sports with Jennifer, and I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit more about Upwards, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. My name is Jennifer McCraw. I'm the Marketing and Partnerships here at Upward Sports. I've been with Upward, and I'm going to age myself here a minute. I've been here 20 years, and I think I've had a little bit of every different role here. I started out at Upward as a partner support rep. And that means anything that you had that went wrong or had questions about with your league, that's where I started. And I absolutely loved it because it put me on the front lines and I got to hear amazing things. And so honestly, I think, Bailey, our partnership began 3 or 4 years ago. Actually, I think it was 5 years ago at the General Assembly. I started talking to people at the General Assembly and loved it. And they connected me to Jeff Alexander, who then connected me to Sam and Christy Seneca, and then to you. I mean, you guys are amazing. I have absolutely loved our partnership for sure. So thanks for having me here today.
So cool. We're so excited to have you. And everything always starts with Jeff Alexander. That man worked so hard. So awesome.
He's great.
Yes, he is. But Jennifer, why don't you just give us like your story behind Upward, like how you started in Upward? You were a league rep, I think you talked about, and then kind of where you are now.
Yeah, so I won't go 20 years worth of time, right? But I started here, honestly, my first time off was to graduate college. Is that crazy? And so it was my first PTO day, we can say. And so honestly, I started working, like I said, as a partner support representative, answering questions. But I would take Upward back before I became an employee to serving at my church in college as a coach, a cheerleading coach. And I absolutely loved it because I saw families step in a way that, you know, as a young college kid, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Moms, dads, grandparents, everybody is coming to your church. And for our church, honestly, that's why our gym was built, was for Upward Sports. Families in the church, honestly, they raised money because they saw, hey, if we have a gym and we fill it, families come in. And every Saturday, it was, I'm telling you, hundreds of families step foot. So growing up, that's where I started. And then I started working here. And so honestly, I say I bleed Upward Sports because I just love the calling and the passion of it. So fast forward, as I coached, then I started working here. Then my husband and I became the league director at our church, and that is the person that leads Upward Sports. And I did that. I would say we did that maybe 7 or 8 years. We absolutely loved it. It really was just an extension of our church to the community, and where our church is located. We're in a very smaller community, a suburb, like a smaller city, I would say, of Spartanburg here in South Carolina. In the upstate, we'll call it. And I'm going to tell you, what we saw is we could not reach our neighborhoods within 2 or 3 miles of our church. And they would come to Easter egg hunts. They would come to a fall festival. But we were like, how can we get them to come consistently? And we had a field, and before, we had a gym, but we also had a field. And we honestly would just go out there with our flag footballs, belts, and the balls, and these kids would just come from the community and they wanted to play. So that is how we stepped from a basketball league into a flag football league right there at our church. And we honestly looked like the community, and our church grew, honestly, because of it. And so fast forward now 20 years, I'm still here at Upward Sports. It is a calling. It is my job, but it is my calling. And I absolutely love serving a church that is wanting to get into their community.
So cool. I love that. I love that you started from the beginning as in like a rep and you led in Upward Sports. I think that's so awesome. I grew up playing Upward Sports. My mom put me at a young age into Upward basketball, and I shortly after did not know the rules and got fouled out. And I remember crying on the bench, and my mom was like, "This girl needs to be put into soccer." And so that's how my soccer career got started. And I just retired a year ago. So it's all
That's
because
awesome.
of Upward Sports in the start. But I just remember the stars. Like,
I was going to ask you, do you remember the little iron-on stars?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we would run through this tunnel and there was smoke and lights, and it was so cool, and it was the coolest way to grow up with sports. And we had some awesome coaches as well. So I think it's so fun. I just smile looking back on all those memories. But yeah, well, tell us if somebody's listening to this, tell us like what is Upward Sports? Kind of give like the heart behind it, the why, and like, what does it typically look like?
Yeah. So Upward Sports started in Spartanburg, South Carolina, here where our offices are. 30 years ago, we actually celebrated our 30th anniversary last year. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to hear all of the God moment stories that sports ministry has allowed a local church to do. But Upward Sports, our mission is to promote the discovery of Jesus through sports. That's a heartbeat. We want to promote the discovery of Jesus through sports, but we partner with churches in doing that. Sometimes you may hear a church say, oh, it's just a league. And we're saying, no, it's more than a league, right? That's what we would say that sports is. And we partner with a church from start to finish. We are their ministry partner. They pick their sport. They pick a timeline that works best for them to run basketball, let's say, because you played that, so you're familiar with it. So they pick the sport, they pick their timeline, and then we provide them all of their resourcing from online registration to a coach app to devotions that actually one of your leaders, Sam, actually reviews a lot of our devotions from the Church of the Nazarene to say, hey, we approve, these devotions. And so we provide ministry resources, any type of social media images so that you can make your community aware. We have ambassadors across the country so that you're able to ask questions. And then we provide you with apparel. If you want to, you talked about the stars, you pick and choose what goes in your player box to make your child and your families feel seen and welcome and loved, because that is their connection point to your church. And then our goal really is that families in your communities come in and they are a part. And when they become a part, they feel loved and they say, hey, I trust them, and you're able to share the gospel with them for sure. So we are your one-stop shop for Upwards for sports ministry.
In general, I'm just looking at the website. So again, I'm going to just put myself out there. I didn't play upward sports, so I'm coming at it all new. I did play sports, but I wasn't as
We need to get you to
athletic as
coach,
Bailey.
Nate.
I know. Yeah, that's what I need
Come
to do.
on.
I need to get involved somehow. But you have 5,000 church partners, 7 million or more children playing, and 45,000 sports experiences. What does that mean? What does sports experiences mean?
So sports experiences are your leagues. There are different types of experiences. When you have a league, you have a camp, you have a clinic that you could run at your church. And that 7 million number is over time, right? And so we've existed for 30 years. And so that is what that would be.
Is pickleball something that's emerging? What's the most diverse sport? You don't have curling yet, I would assume, but what do you got
curling,
going? What's your list of sports?
So our list of sports, I'll say our old school sports where we started, Bailey, for us, right?
Yeah.
Basketball, soccer, flag football, cheerleading. We have baseball and softball, volleyball, and then we did launch pickleball. I guess this is our second full year of pickleball. Now, our pickleball is designed, it's designed more for middle school and high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about pickleball, that's a fun sport because Upward is generally when you run a league, we honor family time, right? And so you have 1 hour of practice a week and then 1 hour of game days a week. And our systems are so unique in that if the siblings you can identify them and they play on the same days, near the same hours so that we can honor family time. But one thing that's cool about pickleball is we have a practice and play all on the same day, league format.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They're able to come, and I've seen some churches do pickleball and pizza. And so these middle schoolers and high schoolers come and they practice and play and have pizza all on the same day. It's a great outreach for sure.
Well, one thing I noticed, so Jennifer and I were talking, Bailey, before you got on, but I was living in the upstate for the last year, so I know where Spartanburg is. I didn't get to meet Jennifer while I was there, so that's kind of frustrating. But meeting her via Zoom, I know. But homeschoolers, I feel like the upstate had a big homeschool community, so I could see Upwards being a big connection point for homeschoolers to get into sports as well.
For sure. And a lot of churches have a homeschool co-op that is on campus at their church. So that's a great opportunity when you run your league to invite, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good old upstate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should ask questions about the upstate. But yeah, no, I noticed that in the no questions about the upstate. But I noticed that in the couple Nazarene churches I connected with there that there was good homeschool community. So I thought Upward Sports would be a good way. And in fact, I think that's what David Snodgrass had mentioned, that was a good way for some of the homeschool kids in youth group to connect with the larger group. So you mentioned the history a little bit. So it's always been it started in Spartanburg. That was the mission of it. I guess in thinking about that, you talked about your personal history with it. You started out with it, but can you share, I don't know, you could probably share many, but you got any anecdotal stories of kids showing up and kind of being transformed while at Upwards? Some fun stories you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, I'll definitely, we could go on for hours, right?
Yes, of course.
30 years worth of stories.
Maybe anything recently, whatnot, but something that's on your mind.
Sure. So for Bowling Green in Ohio, we have ambassadors there, Tony and Emily Hunter. So if they listen, shout out to you guys. But they do a phenomenal job. And one thing I'll tell you about them is that they love to create core moments. And they always talk about, we can remember back. Bailey, you just used the word core moments a few minutes ago. When you think back as a child, things stand out. We can all remember. For me, I remember dodgeball, right? In elementary school. And you were always like, oh, I'm going to be the last one chosen for dodgeball in the group, right? And we have core memories and we have things that make us feel important and feel loved. And that's one thing they do exceptionally well, is that they really stand out and create this tunnel experience, like Bailey mentioned. They call each player's name. They take time and love and care for their families. So that to me is like a way, when I look at a church, that's one story. If you're looking for an individual story, I'll tell you, I just spoke to a lady. Her name is Bobby. She is from Three Rivers, Michigan. She's
I grew up in Three Rivers, Michigan. Believe it or not.
Okay, did you?
Small
Bobby's going to
world.
actually be my community hero for this month. And so stay tuned. You can read about it at the end of August. Well, next month. But Bobby really shares a story about how families are changed, and she does something called a legacy jacket for these kids that have played so many years when they're aging out of Upward Sports, and they wear these cool little Upward Sports legacy jackets, and she shares about what their favorite things are, what they have learned, how they have grown, what their favorite Bible verses are, and she does such an excellent job of asking them to come back and serve. Now that they're out of Upward Sports and they played all of these years, she asked them, hey, why don't you come back and help us referee? Or how can you get involved? How can you own part of this now because you were changed and you were impacted? And just some of the stories that she shared of like from those kids of how, hey, I didn't make the middle school team, but you gave me a place to play, or I looked forward to seeing my coach every Monday night. I knew that that was going to be fun, and I knew I was going to get a place to play. So for me, when I look at that, there's so many stories of life change or accepting Christ. That's our whole, we want that, right? And so I think for me, that's just hearing those stories is honestly why we do what we do.
Yeah. Now, are there any again, this is just me coming at it cold, so I apologize if it's a dumb question.
Ask on.
Is Upwards connecting at all with any type of rec leagues for adults in any way? Is that something that they're getting into? Again, I'm going on
Great
pickleball
question.
because pickleball is in my mind right now. But
great question.
Like
So Upward Sports is really designed for youth at this point. Now, I will tell you, we do have a running arm. Upward Running. It is for adults, and that's where you can join our Upward Running app. And you can join a Christian running community, and we do it for adults because it is an app and you're joining. We don't want kids inside there, right? You can pick your pace, right? A 5K, 10K, half full. So you can do that. So that would be, you can check that out at our upwardrunning.com. But no, at this point, our goal really is we are serving the church that then is able to serve their community. And so one thing for you, not looking at it from the first time, Upward Sports, when we partner with the church, it is the ministry of the church. All of your Church of the Nazarene churches that are running this, and Bowling Green, that is the ministry of the church into the community. So at this point, we're sticking with we're with youth sports right now. Do I say that? You can't ever say never, right? Because we always are continuing to grow and get better for sure.
Yeah. Well, we in the Church of the Nazarene, we have, I'm going to name names, but Keith Cox, Gary Hartkey, our general treasurer, general secretary, and Dr. Chambo, our general superintendent, all play pickleball in a rec league. And so they got some pickleball stories. They actually, I think it was Keith, kind of ministered and led someone back to church in pickleball ministry. So sports is such a great way to connect. It's kind of, maybe you can speak to this a little bit, but it's kind of a non-threatening community event, especially in the age of hyper-politicization and the religiosity. Everyone kind of gets worked up in our tribalism, but sports is maybe that one lasting cultural vestige that is cross the aisles. Everyone enjoys baseball. Everyone enjoys hockey. Everyone we can get together, football and whatnot. So anyways, if you can speak to that kind of ministry opportunity side of it.
Yeah, I think the percentage is like 95% of Americans every day speak or talk about sports. I mean, you've probably done it today already, talking about, I know my kids have called me today and being in the summer talking about sports. And so sports is a unifying thing. Think about the World Cup. Everybody came around sports, and you're right. It is unifying. For us, at Upward Sports, sports is that bridge into the community for sure. And so sports is non-threatening. For a family that does not attend a church, they're going to pull up to your gym, your field, and that is non-threatening. They get their chair out of the back of their car and they're sitting on the sidelines or on the court, right? They're sitting there, and that is an easier entry through the back door of the church, right? When they're not familiar. And so you're exactly right. I think that our stat is 51% of families last year when they register online, they told us around 51% said they were non-affiliated with a church. And so that is a huge outreach to your community. Absolutely, for sure.
a lot of pastors that I interact with. So I'm a son of a pastor. My brother's a pastor. I've been surrounded by pastors most of my life. So they're busy, the time constraint, but just share, maybe ease the pastor's mind a little bit and tell them, I mean, you talked about it a little bit, a pastor that might be listening saying, I'd like to get involved, but I just don't know if I have the time. Maybe you could share a little bit about the time constraint and things like that.
Absolutely. So for a pastor, he or she probably can be sitting here thinking about, hey, you know what? There is somebody in my congregation that wants to lead and that wants to step forward or that loves sports. I think of Colin Duffy in Reading. He absolutely loves sport. Hey, Colin, if you're listening, he absolutely loves sports and he is able to lead it. However, he raises other leaders, right, to step forward and lead that ministry. So if I were speaking to a pastor, I would say, think of that one person or that Jennifer and Jason in my category, right? The family, the couple that could step forward and lead that. Because you're right, a pastor is busy, and the majority of the time, the pastor isn't leading the Upward Sports Ministry. They are supporting it, and they are casting that vision of blessing your community, being outreach driven, getting outside of your walls, and they're casting that vision for that to mobilize that congregation to get them to serve. I know that's what Colin does, and because of that, the pastor is not leading that per se in the administrative. This other league director is, and if you have that person and you bring them to us, we will train them, and we provide you the materials, the software to do that. But when I think about the pastor, they're casting that vision. There are pastors that do lead it for sure. I know Colin has a very big hand in it, but we supply all of the resourcing so that you are not starting from scratch. You create your league, right? And then you're asking for volunteers, but they are given everything for sure that they need.
I love it. I was gonna go back and say, Tucker and I, of course, is not Upwards, but ever since moving to Reno, and a lot of people might know our story a little bit, but we just we started teaching our friends how to play pickleball, and it's grown and grown and grown. And every Saturday morning at 9 or sometimes 8 now, because it's getting hot, 8 a.m., show up to this park, and people, like, a lot of our church friends are there, but then it's just our place where we invite like school friends, this person that we met at T-Mobile, we've invited all these random people to this place Saturday mornings where it's just the most consistent time for us to be able to meet and play pickleball. And it's connecting. Like, we've created a whole pickleball. Like, we have 20 something people that probably show up every week, but it's become a place where, like, for Tucker and I, it's kind of become our ministry outside of the church, because like you said, it's a really easy barrier. It's just pickleball. Like, we're not like inviting you to a Sunday service. You know what I mean? You're just surrounded by people who love Jesus at pickleball. And it's been really cool. And some of the stories that we've had from just like very organic pickleball has been really, really cool in our world for some of the young adults that we're surrounded with. But that's the heart of what Upwards is. It's a really easy entrance and really easy for parents to commit to one practice and one game a week. Like, I grew up playing club soccer, and it was probably 3 practices, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a full day on Saturday out at the fields. And sometimes we'd have 1 game, sometimes we'd have 2 games, sometimes we'd have a whole weekend of a tournament. And it was very, very time consuming. So having that 1 practice and 1 game, oh my goodness, you're still able to have family life, and you're still able to be like a normal person outside of your sport, still have an identity outside of it. So I love that about Upward. Another thing I was going to touch on is, Jennifer, you sent us some statistics a while back on the Nazarene Church and Upward Sports in 2025. And I just want to read some of these off because they're super exciting. But in 2025, we had 23 Nazarene churches step up into Upward for the very first time. We have 104 churches that are actively running sports ministries today in the Nazarene Church. And over the past year, in total, we've had 12,000, over the past 2025 year, in total, we've had 12,885 players that were part of leagues and stretched across 12 weeks. And I I say that because at the end of each league, you're presented with the gospel,
correct.
right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and that's the part of who Upward is, and that's the part of the beauty of Upward. But you take those statistics, and 12,885 players were presented with the gospel. Like from 104 churches, like the difference of that 104 to 12,000 impacted lives from that is just so cool, and it just shows the impact of what Upward can do just through 104 churches. And I just get so excited and giddy over that because that's 12,885 players, 12,885 like friends, family, students, children, sons, daughters, that they're going to go back and impact their family. They're going to go back and impact their schools. That number just continues to grow and grow and grow. And I think the beauty of that is so exciting and honestly something I just get so passionate about. And you can't quote me on this statistic. Somebody said it in a Zoom call, but I love it and I'm pretty sure it's true. So but 84% of people make a decision to follow Jesus before the age of 40.
That's correct. Yes.
And and that's Upward Sports. That's the heart of why we're doing it. And so I just love those statistics, and I just think that's 12,000 kids that are impacting now other people through a sport.
You can also take it one step further too, in that every player on average normally brings 3 or 4 other people with them on game day. That's a mom, a dad, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a teacher. If you did that math, right? If we just stuck at 12,000, right? That's around, what is that? That's like 36,000 family members as well. So when you think of life change, it's also a family unit that is being impacted by a local church. And I'm telling you, I'm with you. When you talk about getting excited and giddy, I'm like, I just had a webinar today, and it was with churches that were looking to get started for the very first time, and hearing them share the passion of like, hey, we want to reach 2 miles. They just built a brand new neighborhood. I think we all can just drive somewhere and see new neighborhoods, going up. And they were talking about how, hey, we want to reach, our mission is to be in our community 2 miles and invite new families. What better way? Think about the 104 churches that are currently Church of the Nazarene that are, serving their community. That is, like you said, that's such an awesome thing. And for me, we are on mission right there in your 1, 2, 3 mile radius for sure.
Yep. Yeah. This is a story that we posted on social media a little while ago, but there's a pastor at Woodland Park Church of the Nazarene. His name's Dale Butler. And oh my gosh, I can get brought to tears talking about his story, but he filmed a video and he talked about how his church, a lot of Nazarene churches sit on either a lot of land or a gym. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I feel like every Nazarene church I've ever walked into has a gym or like outside of their sanctuary, things like that. But Dale had a gym in his church and he's like, I want to use this. And so their church prayed for years about starting an Upward Sports ministry. And they finally got to a point where they were like, okay, I think we can start small and let's start with one league. We'll start small. We'll try this out. We'll see how it goes. But they've prayed and years of prayer have gone into this. And he starts to tell his story, and they went through the whole 6 weeks or whatever they ended up running. And at the very end of it, he had one little boy who gave his life to Christ for the very first time. And Dale just gets teary-eyed, and he's like, we would do it all over again for that one little boy. And he's like, we cannot wait for the next year of Upward Sports. But it's just so exciting because that one little boy, all that work for that one little boy that's going to go out and change his family's lives and change his school's life and just go out, like his life is forever changed because of the faithful ministry that Dale and his church is led with Upward. And it's just so exciting. And it brings me to tears because oh man, the video, he just starts crying.
I love that video. I want to say, what if he did not listen to the call to offer sports that invited his family in, right? What if he did not? That little boy would not have heard, right? I'm with you. That is it's a powerful tool for sure.
It is.
That led me to a question for either of you to answer. So again, I'm trying to think about it from the perspective of our listeners, but if a pastor's listening, are there any restrictions? Obviously, if you don't have a gym, you can't do a basketball ministry, but you mentioned a yard. What are some of the restrictions and maybe things that Upwards can get creative with and say, hey, this is what your facility looks like. What if you did one of these leagues? Is that kind of, there's some consultation maybe, Jennifer, that takes place with some of our pastors?
I'm going to tell you, there's no restrictions. We're not going to restrict you. We're like, if the Lord calls you to it, he will find a way, right? So I'll go to the restrictions, but I did want to circle back on what Bailey said about
sorry,
you
go ahead.
guys.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You guys are Church of Nazarene, like you said, a lot of churches are blessed with resources, a gym or a field space. When I go to different types of conferences that may be a sports conference, let's say it's a sports conference, it's not a Christian sports conference, it's just a secular sports conference. One thing that they are looking for, they need gyms. They're always like, we need to find a gym. We don't have a gym to even reach our community. And I turn back around and I go, and the church here today has a gym, and there it sits. A lot of times it sits and it's used for a crock pot, or it's used for, a Wednesday night dinner, which is so great. That's outreach too in its own. But man, we have a resource of a gym or a field space that's sitting right there, and you're cutting it with every Saturday with grass, right? You're cutting the grass. Man, can you imagine the kids and the families that could show up and play and hear the gospel there? But when you talk about restrictions, the only thing we would say is you do need a gym. You do need some type of field space, or you guys love pickleball. You need a multi-purpose area. Maybe that's an entrance way that has higher ceilings. We've seen people do that. We've had many churches that say we have a sand volleyball court. Can we use that? We're like, yes. Sometimes churches partner together in a community. Maybe they're landlocked, or maybe they do not have a gym or field space at theirs, but down the street is another church that has that, and they work together and they partner together. I know for me, that's what I did. We hosted basketball and flag football, but a sister church down the street, actually a different denomination, hosted soccer. And we worked together. And you want to talk about the body of Christ coming together and working together in such a unique way. That's amazing. We have one church partner this in Delaware, and we have many that do this, but one that comes to mind, he does not have a gym at his church. So he partners with the local school districts, and he runs his basketball through the local school. And the school districts, the superintendents, the principals, they sing his praises in the church, because they're like, this is something our kids have a safe environment, and you guys always leave our gym, you leave our facilities better than you found it. And guess what? Talk about outreach. It extends beyond sports, because when something happens at the school, or a family needs help or has questions or anything, guess who they turn to? That church, because they are a partner with the local school. So I would always say use your resources, but if you don't have that, look around you and what do you have in your community that you could utilize for sure.
Well, something you said earlier, I imagine it's going to cause, when people get involved, people in the pews to get creative and to maybe feel encouraged to say, I've kind of wanted to be in ministry, but I just needed an entrance point. So I imagine, Three Rivers was a little bit larger town, and then I grew up part-time in Charlevoix, Michigan, which is a town of 3,000 in the summer. 3,000 wintertime, 30,000 summertime. It's a very summer, so summer sports would probably be big for them, but it's a very resort town, up in northern Michigan. But I imagine it would cause local church pastors to say, maybe I need to talk to the local school, or maybe I need to talk to this church. There'd be some forcing of creativity that would take place if one felt so called to start a Upwards ministry up in Charlevoix. But not throwing Charlevoix out there, but thinking about my context of where I grew up when I didn't have Upward sports. So no fault of my father, Dad.
I would say get creative with it.
Yeah.
When you talked about too, maybe it's a great way for people within the church to serve in a different capacity. Sometimes there's always this group. I think it's like 15% of people serve. The same 15% serve all over the church, whether they're in the nursery or they're in the children's ministry. So sometimes it's hard to get people to serve. You're scared to start another ministry within the church because you're like, I already got volunteer burnout. I don't want to do that. I would push toward that a little bit and say, this is probably, I know it will mobilize a different group of people within the church. I'll use my own husband, for example. He really doesn't want to serve in the nursery. That's just not, he doesn't really care to do that. But I'm telling you, when someone says, hey, will you coach a 7th grade boys basketball team? He's like, I'm there. And you are able to not only then within your own congregation, you're able to raise up new people to serve, but you're also able to bring in parents within the community that have their child playing that you could pair with someone else from your church that's an assistant coach to a coach. I'm telling you, that's such another great outreach tool, a part of sports for
That's good.
We're going to get
That's
you
good.
coaching, Nate, before it's
Yeah.
over. Before it's
Jennifer,
over
I
with.
started, in high school, I started the chess club. I did play sports too, but I did start the chess club. I'm assuming Upward Sports does not consider chess a sport. At this
I'm
point
not
in
saying
time.
we don't consider a sport. We just don't have it as one that we offer. But
So you don't need a lot of
hey,
space for chess, just a table.
That's
kind
exactly
of thing.
right.
So, yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
You heard
man.
it here, folks.
You heard it here. Upward chess.
Right.
We're just Jennifer, I feel like you kind of answered some of this, but I'm going to circle back because I think it's a lot of our churches. But say we're telling churches about Upward, and some people might be sitting here being like, I have one child in our ministry, or like in our children's ministry. How am I ever supposed to start a league of 12 kids or whatever that start is? I think you kind of touch base on school districts, things like that, but can you just expand on like what you would say to that, or whether it's joining other churches and
So
stuff?
if you've got a smaller children's ministry, is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could I start a league?
Well, our leagues are outreach focused. So we're trying to get the community to come in. Of course, our kids within our own churches are going to play, but many churches that come to start with Upward Sports say, hey, we're looking for a way to revitalize our children's ministry and boost it, right? And invite new people in. I would say, one, you need to start that league. You don't have to run a huge league of kindergarten through 8th grade. You could do a start smaller, right? Kindergarten through 3rd grade, and you can invite families in. That's a great way to, bring in new family, to bring in new kids. Another way, like I said earlier, is you can partner with another church. You guys could come together and then invite families in to the church. So I wouldn't let that hinder me at all. I wouldn't start that way of saying, I only have one kid in my children's ministry. We're not going to be able to do this. I would challenge that and say, you only have one child in the children's ministry. You're going to bring in more children to your ministry through this invite, because we all want an invite, right? It all begins, truthfully, with an invite.
Yes, yeah. I love that. I just think we serve such a big God, and we can dream big when it comes to Upward, and especially praying into it. I think he's gonna use that. And like you said, I think bringing even unity to the churches around you in your area is so beautiful. So often we see such a divide in churches, and I think unifying that with something as simple as soccer or football or sports and working together for this outreach, I think is such a beautiful way to bring together churches too in your community and get to know more and more people and lead to more and more outreach. I just love that. Can you kind of talk into, we have a Nazarene specific partnership with some really cool benefits to that. Can you kind of talk into that and give us the spiel on that?
Yeah. So like we said, it's been several years with our partnership, and I am so thankful for what you guys do when it comes to reaching your communities. So we want to serve you, and we can say, Bailey, they can thank you, Jeff. They can thank all of your leadership team there for listening to what all of your church partners need, right? And so it is unique to Church of the Nazarene. And so through our partnership with Church of the Nazarene, we renew it with you guys every single year. So for this year, we have we train your leader. So we're going to make sure that league director knows firsthand everything they need to know. We're going to walk them through their whole first year. That doesn't mean we're after the first year's over, because then you move to the next step where you have a regional rep that comes on site and we meet with you and make sure that everything is flowing like you want it to. It is meeting your ministry expectations for sure. So there's that. Then we also have social media or marketing assistants, and that's what I do. I get to help you tell your community, hey, it's here. Basketball is here for the winter. And so we help you with social media campaigns. We have promotional cards, flyers, yard signs, you name it. We provide you marketing materials. And then something that's very unique to you guys is you have a $500 sports startup grant that is used for equipment, or I've seen people use it for scholarships for kids to play. I've seen people use it for goals or sport specific balls that they need. So that is through this partnership. And when you schedule your call, everything is unique. Your church is unique. And so our onboarding team will listen to you. They will create a presentation for your church leadership. Everybody's is different. They will help you build your customizable player package to your budget, to what your community and your community looks like. And then, of course, like I said, that grant is there and it's available to you guys through that partnership.
That's so good. So to recap that a little bit, we have a Upward and Nazarene partnership website. And so that's what I'm looking at right now. But like you said, the startup assistance, half the battle sometimes is social media and marketing and getting it out to your community. And I think that's so, so cool that you guys just walk hand in hand with the churches and provide the resources for that and help them think and dream bigger of how to reach your community through these different ways. And so that's half the battle sometimes from a social media girl. So I think that's just incredible that you guys walk through that. Like you said, you guys did a $500 sports ministry grant, which is just a great boost for these churches and honestly covers a lot of it. So I think that's absolutely incredible. And in that first year league support where you're not leaving these volunteers, these pastors or whoever starting it by themselves, I think is just so incredible as well, because through that whole time you're walking hand in hand with somebody who's been in this and done this for years upon years, that's now helping you dream to your context, to your church, and what could work best and how to start that. So I just love that. I love our partnership. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think it's impacted my life. It's impacted people I know's life from different areas. And I just love what Upward does. But Nate, I don't know if you have any more questions. I was going to actually pass it back on to Jennifer and see if there's anything that we missed, or what like is the best piece of advice you could give to a church that might be starting up an Upward soon.
Nate, did you have anything?
Well, just nonsensical questions. I was just going to ask you about the Upstate, Jennifer. But where's the best place to get a piece of pizza in the Upstate? Best pizza joint.
The best pizza joint. I would go to Venus Pie if I were going. It's in Spartanburg. Look, we're giving them a shout out. That's exactly where I would go to get a pizza. It's wonderful. So next time you're down here, we'll take you and your wife to get
my
pizza.
friends are just moving to Spartanburg, so we'll be back down to visit. So
okay, Venus
over
Pie.
by Costco, which Bailey and I were talking on the last episode we did together. Costco pizza.
Gosh, yeah.
Have you had Costco pizza?
I have had Costco pizza.
Costco pizza is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
What's your take on Costco pizza?
My take? I mean,
yeah,
it's good. It's good. It's a huge piece of pizza. It's a huge piece of pizza. I mean, if you're wanting to like have a large piece of pizza at not a very expensive price, that is the place to go in my book for sure.
Have you been to, is it Pie Squared? Is it Pie Squared
Pie Squared.
Have you been there? Over in Spartanburg? That's pretty good. Do you like that style? Yeah, that's like Detroit style.
It's Detroit. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like Venus Pie better, but
Venus Pie. Where's Venus Pie at? Sorry, you just said it's in Spartanburg?
It's right across from the Skillet. Do you know where the Skillet is?
I don't know.
Downtown Spartanburg.
Okay, it's downtown. Okay.
Downtown Spartanburg, folks. That's where you need to go eat your piece of pizza.
Yes.
So good. So good.
I'm out there.
You
Sorry.
both come down here, and I'll take you to Venus Pie.
Venus Pie. But no, Bailey, nothing important. I totally just sidelined the podcast on nonsensical stuff. So
That's okay.
I'm good with nonsense. It's great.
yeah,
Now I know where to go get pizza. Also, I want to say that Costco pizza, one slice is like 70 grams of protein. So it's a great
Economical.
bulking choice.
I will tell you this. My son, he is about to be 17. When he turned 16 last year, his friends took him to Costco to celebrate for his birthday. They threw him a party there.
At Costco.
At
That's something
Costco.
I would do. That's what
I
I
was
would
like, that's pretty good. That is pretty good.
That is so funny.
So we've learned a lot here today. Costco, pizza.
do. Yeah.
I'll circle back because you asked me what is one piece of it.
Sorry, Jennifer.
We'll go back. One piece of advice that I would give to someone. Am I giving it to them starting out, Bailey? Or they're thinking about upward sports?
You can do both, or they're starting out, and then if they're a year into it.
Yeah. So I think if it were
helps
me, giving somebody a piece of advice is, I would say we're all called to go and to tell and to share the gospel. I mean, we're called to do that. Whether it's sports, whether it's chess, whether it's whatever it is, I want you to use what God calls you to. He tells us to go and to tell. We better go do it, right? But I will tell you this, as a mom, I'll take it on a personal level. As a mom, kids are playing sports. Moms are sitting there watching their kid because we love our kids. And when our kids feel loved and our kids enjoy something, we feel like we've done what we're doing it, right? And that's important. And so if you are called to go and you're called to tell, you've got to meet them where they are. And it's easy for me to go to my neighbor and say, I want to invite you to church. And then I'll leave it on them. And they come to church or they don't. It's up to them. But if I go and I sit on a sideline or I open my church to a league, yes, it is going to be work. And so I will tell people that, like, it is going to be work. But anything worth doing is worth doing well. And so when you're called to go and you're called to tell, when you open your gym, you're inviting them in. And they are coming in, but they are coming in at like you said, Nate, a non-threatening term. And you are serving them. To me, I would say, why would you not? If I could leave, that would be the advice is, why would you not use what God has given you a resource? And why would you not go meet them where they are? So I would say that's my piece of advice. Just do it. Step in there and offer that league. For somebody that's been running an upward sports league and they're in the trenches, they would speak to this to you and say, man, it was worth doing it. When I look at that child that Dale Butler talked about that accepted Christ for the first time, it's worth doing it. When you look at the mom that says, I was at my wit's end, and I just heard this, was at my wit's end. I didn't think that, I had anything else. My marriage had fallen apart. I was looking for a place for my kids to play. And I heard this on a call this week. And that mom told me that. She said, but I knew Monday was coming and I was able to bring my kids to a safe, happy, fun place. And I knew that I could sit there and just listen to what was going on. I would say that is what your community needs. That is what everybody's looking for, belonging. And your church was placed exactly where God put it for such a reason and for such a time as this, right? Step into it, go into your community, look like them, smell like them, invite them in, and then watch God do what he does best, for sure.
Boom. That was so good.
All I got, Bailey.
That was great.
Great wins to big
That was
vibes
great.
there. I love it.
Well, Bailey and Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Jennifer, we're also thinking of ways to, Bailey and I are workshopping it, but if you ever want to just be a recurring visitor, pop in for 5 minutes on the podcast, and kind of give us updates, things like that. And we can always talk the upstate as well, So,
we can always talk the upstate. We could do like a tour. We could do a tour of the pizza shops.
Yeah.
I will tell you, you know what? There's a lot of hot dogs places around here too. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go to many.
It was like on every corner, right?
What's your favorite restaurant? I should have asked it that way. What's your favorite restaurant in the upstate? Yeah, that's not something you could find other places. I should have asked that question.
Yeah, you should. Let's see. I would say one of my favorite restaurants in the upstate is called Willie Taco. Have you ever
I
ate
have not
there?
tried it. I have
Well, there's
not, but I
one in
saw it.
downtown Spartanburg
Yep.
called Cribs Kitchen. They are known for their smash burgers. They're known for the wraps. They do different types of wraps. So that would be in the upstate.
Yeah,
That's what
good.
I would say for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending this time. It's been a joy to get to know you, and I wish I would have met you when I was there. But I'll be back down. I got friends in Spartanburg. Met some new friends in Greer, so I got reasons to come back. So yeah,
Come
I'll be
back. The
down at
Upward
some
Sports office is in right outside of downtown Spartanburg. So
Yeah.
stop in.
Yeah.
We'll give you a tour.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring me back on. I'll bring you some unique new Church of the Nazarene stats, Bailey.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Tell you what's
Yes.
going on. We're about to get ready for now's the time. If church partners are looking like, hey, what sport do I need to do now? I would say get ready for winter basketball. It's time.
Yeah, it's kind.
It
start
is
thinking about
time.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. Bailey, any final thoughts? I'll let you close this out.
No, I really appreciate it. And I just love the impact. And I just go back to the 12,885 students that
Me too.
the Nazarene Church got to be a part of out of just 104 churches. But I can only imagine what else Upwards is doing outside of the Nazarene Church. As a whole. And so I just rejoice in that. And I just rejoice in the fact that 104 churches were able to impact 12,885 students and 12,885 children
Heard the gospel.
have heard
Yes,
the
they did.
gospel. Right? That's the goal, is to go and make Christ-like disciples among the nations. And that's right here in our neighborhoods. That's right here in Reno, Nevada. That's right where you guys are in Spartanburg, right? And I love the impact that Upward can create. And I just rejoice in the fact that 12,885 students have heard the gospel and are going out into their schools and churches and communities as well. So I appreciate and just love that I get to be in this partnership role and work with you, Jennifer, and you just do such amazing work there at Upward. And we just truly, truly love this partnership with the Nazarene Church and Upward. So
Back at you. You guys are honestly a breath of fresh air. I absolutely love partnering with you. You do a great job, Bailey. You too, Nate.
Aw, thank you, Jennifer. Pleasure to meet you. Bailey, good
Same to
seeing
you.
you again.
yes, so I love being on here.
We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this collaboration episode between Holiness Today and the USA Canada region. Look forward to more episodes like this in the future.